Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing my book review for American Gods by Neil Gaiman. This copy. Now, first things first, quite simply, I love this book. I thought it was an extremely good book. This is a fairly biggish book, although it's not actually as many pages as it appears. It looks like it's a very large book. It's not even 700. Although that is almost verging on big. Now, American Gods is classed as fantasy. I think you might class it as dark fantasy. Not brilliant with genres, as you know, but probably dark fantasy. It certainly is dark, so I would assume it is. And this book was originally published in 2001, 13 years ago from when I'm reading it. Now, the ideas in this book are essentially what faith and religion could mean in today's modern world. This is actually a really interesting idea, and Gaiman, unsurprisingly, does an extremely good job with his own take on it, which I think works extremely well. Now, the plotline of the book starts with a man called Shadow in prison, and he gets released because his wife is killed, and he meets an individual called Mr. Wednesday on the way back to his hometown, and the plot goes from there. Now, you learn quite a bit about Shadow throughout the course of the book, of course, and also about Mr. Wednesday, who's a very curious character, and the relationship between the two of them I think is extremely curious. Because at times they kind of like each other. At times I think each other's really quite weird and they don't understand each other. But it does work really well. Yes, and Mr. Wednesday is also a former god and king of America. So, yeah, you'll find out what exactly that means if you read it. And I would encourage everybody to read it if you have an interest in the genre, or indeed in Gaiman. Now, there is a selection of other characters who I think work brilliantly well. One of them is called Anansi, and he's important to the storyline. Plus, the kind of sequel as such to this book is actually called Anansi's Boys, which is basically about his son, and sometime after the events of this book, only vaguely. Anyway, I digress. There's also a trio of three sisters and a brother in the book, which are a very odd group of characters living in this house, and quite funny at times, and they do add to the story because there's an ever-present idea to do with them running through the book, especially in regards to Shadow. The book is basically about the coming storm and issues between sort of what faith used to be in America and what it could now be, and indeed what it might become, and the issues that could arise between the parties involved. I'm trying to be very careful what I say. I do not want to give anything away. So overall, this introspective into what belief and faith means in modern day America, and indeed just the modern world, I think is extremely interesting. It's not entirely what you might think. In other ways, it's exactly also what you think. I'm being enigmatic on purpose, of course. Do not want to give anything away. Now, this copy, which is the headline edition, contains a novelette, I think you'd class it as, called Monarch of the Glen, which is a short story set directly about Shadow in Scotland and a little adventure he has set after the course of the end of the book. And I thought it was a quite an interesting little story. I mean, it doesn't affect the book in any way, but it's still quite a fun little story. So, in summary, if you like Neil Gaiman, then quite possibly you've already read this, and if you haven't, then I would advise you to read it. This is one of his better books, I think, and it's certainly a very interesting book. I'd also say if you like fantasy and you want an unusual sort of spin on what faith and belief could be, then this might be of interest as well. I mean, I think it's a brilliant book in general. I would highly recommend this to pretty much everybody. It's one of the best books I've read in quite some time. Although if you have an issue with larger books, let's say, then this might be slightly big, but only slight. I mean, it's 635 pages. So, if you class that as long, then you might have an issue with it. Anyway, so that's it for my review of American God by Neil Gaiman. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed my review. If I've missed anything out significant and that you can think of, please let me know in the comments below. I wouldn't be surprised if I have. And thank you for watching, and I will see you another day. Bye for now.